Two minutes. 2 minutes.
I know this is a use of microphone because I don't know if part of the issue maybe is that microphone. So even though we're a team, I don't know if you
He has, I gave him, yeah. So you with Mason?
I'm not actually. I work normally with Santa Mountain
Yeah.
Unified School
So
District.
he dragged you.
So I actually work, for Dr. Ty now currently, but in the past with Dr. J. So we're a 4-day school district,
Yeah.
so it's nice that on Mondays he does these, and I just ask him to come
Wow.
here. And,
Good.
yeah, works out. Dr. Ty told me to be careful. Mason might put me on their staff as much as I've been working there. Today.
I love it.
Yeah.
Way up the top.
We're starting in 1 minute. Students, take your seats, please. 1 minute.
He didn't make the show down here, did he?
Okay, I think I'm on a short leash, short time period. So I'll start to talk. My name is Susan Siegel. I'm a partner at West Roosevelt, which represents quite a few of the school districts here. For those of you who were at the WMAC meeting where I spoke about this, I apologize ahead of time. I'm going to try to mix it up a little bit, like you had to do when you're teaching in the classroom. But the basic message is the same. A month and a half ago, the Attorney General indicted one of your own, a superintendent of another school district, for actions that occurred while he was a superintendent at yet another school district. The indictment is based upon allegations that he authorized performance pay to his cabinet staff, administrators, and some professional development and some coaching pay. So I'm going to go through. Could I have my clicker come up here, please? Go through some of this. You just can't get good help nowadays, I'm going through some of these slides that'll help you see what the deal is and why it's a big deal. I will tell you that on Sunday this coming week, my son gets married, and I told George Graham at the Auditor General's office, thank you, because you're paying for the rehearsal dinner based upon these findings that just came down. So we start with ARS section 15502, the statute's there. Yes, it does say may, but in this case it is a shall, which basically says the governing board at any time may employ and fix the salaries and benefits of employees necessary for the succeeding year. That means board, not you. It means board. Some policies you already have, if you have ASBA policies, if you're not one of those rogue districts who has a board that wanted to do their own. But if you have ASBA policies, policy GCF, it's found under your staff certificate as professional staff, but it applies to all employees. You see the language is very broad, and it says the board has a legal responsibility of approving the employment of all attorneys. While this responsibility cannot be waived, the board assigns to you a duty to recruit, but it's the board that finally signs off and does the approval. Some of you are going to say right now in your heads, what's she talking about? Of course we take our contracts to the board. Of course we get board approval for everything. Well, keep listening. That was a teaser. So the Arizona Attorney General audited Apache Junction for the years 2012 to the Arizona Auditor General, 2012 to 2016. And as I said, they found that performance pay of administrators had been authorized by the superintendent without board approval. Professional development had been authorized by the superintendent without approval. Athletic event attendance, extra duties for athletic events had been authorized by the superintendent without board approval. You may say to me, how did this happen? And well, I understand he didn't benefit at all, and he did not. He paid $480 back, and the sum total of the amount is not extraordinary. I've had bigger cases when I was at the Attorney General's office and then also defending with dollar amounts. But the definition of theft is any amount where even if you don't have the benefit of it. So Chad has been charged with felony theft, class 2 felony. Now think about it. A superintendent has been charged for this, for class 2 felony. It's a little bit of an overkill in my own personal humble opinion. But nonetheless, he's had to hire his own attorney. Trust doesn't pay for that. His own attorney to represent him in this criminal proceeding. And criminal defense attorneys do not come cheap. He's also been charged with a class 4 felony for misuse of public funds. The Auditor General and I highly recommend you consider having your board, after you get through this morass, adopt these policies. The Auditor General recommends conducting unannounced reviews of payroll records and existing control procedures to enforce and verify that the district pays employees only what the board approves. Secondly, modify your documents supporting employee compensation, such as schedules of employee salaries and benefits in personnel action request forms to include the board meeting approval date. Now, some of you were at the Guppy Mac presentation, and some of you have consulted with my partners, Rob Hawes and Jennifer McLennan, and you have had your board retroactively approved up to 7 years of past payments. This could be $1 million, $2 million a year, and I'll tell you what they are. So we've already talked about the indictment and what he was charged with. We'll go on to the next. Okay, these are implications and areas for concern. And I'll click them off. And as I click them off, you know, you may say, well, we're an elementary district. We don't have this. We don't do this. We don't pay extra performance pay for our principals or assistant supes. Here we go. Types of compensation you may be paying without board approval. Tutoring, 6/5 contracts, stipends, travel and other, addenda, committee, and I list some of them that I love from my experience. Club activities, hometown teachers, summer school, summer work. One district has something there where their teachers can, if they want to paint rooms over the summer for them. They have summer work, curriculum coach, master teacher, title funded activities. Pretty large amount. Now, before you run for the phone or drive yourself down to the sheriff's office, I'm going to give you a little bit of hope. I wanted to. Items you may already have board approval for, but don't realize it. For example, stipends pursuant to board approved policy where the pay amount is established. For example, doctoral stipends, coaching. What I found is there's coaching positions and there's coaching positions, and some coaching positions are not pursuant to a schedule. So if you have a schedule that the board has already approved, or a doctoral stipend, if everybody who has a doctorate gets $1,000 a year, and the board's already approved that, that's your approval. But if you have a coaching stipends that are all over the map, I don't know how. I mean, sometimes those things go haywire. I know how it can happen. Then you are going to have to either get it all in line and get it approved, or approve each one as you go along. Mileage and travel pursuant to a board-approved schedule. Performance pay pursuant to a plan. So the first question I got was, oh my God, what about teacher performance pay? Well, has your board approved the plan like you're supposed to? Yes. Well, is the amount approved? Yes. Well, you're probably okay because the whole concept's been approved by the board. Now, you may not go through and say, well, Linda gets 1,000 and Jim gets 500 and all of that. But if it's pursuant to a schedule or criteria, the board's approved, okay. Performance pay and a contract. Supes, you all have, at least if any of my colleagues have drafted your contracts, you have performance pay in your contract. That was approved by the board. I hope your contract was approved by your board. And therefore, you're okay. Early retirement or longevity benefits pursuant to a board-approved policy. Well, if anybody has those or still has them, I mean, a lot of people have been abolishing, and that's kind of my recommendation. That's another topic, another day. If you have a policy that says you will get an extra stipend because you signed up for early retirement, whatever it is, and you're going to tutor